Hello again, this is Gary sharing time with Alina Frank now. Hello, Alina.
Hi, Gary.
We're having an interesting conversation today, aren't we, about the 7, would you call them blocks or blind spots that practitioners have
Yeah,
when working?
calling them the 7 most common blind spots for EFT coaches. And blind spots are very interesting. We all have them as humans. It happens to be the part of the optic nerve that goes out, that exits the eye, in the back of the eye, that connects to the brain. And so for that little part of the retina, we really literally have a blind spot. But blind spots can not only be something fun to play around with. You know, there's all these there are optical illusion games on the web where you look at a picture and you look at a red dot and suddenly the line next to it looks solid, because if you go in or out, you're gonna find your blind spot. But not only is this something entertaining and something interesting, but it also, if you don't see your blind spots, it could be dangerous. So up to 30%, it's been reported that up to 30% of all motor vehicle accidents are due to blind spots. You know, you're supposed to be looking at all different ways when you're changing lanes, and you have a definite blind spot. It's you could end up with an accident, and so practitioners can end up in places they don't want to go, and they can certainly be not seeing the profits and the success of their work and the results of their work if they don't catch these blind spots, right?
Yeah, I like the way that you compare that with the car blind spots. I'm sure, like
Yeah.
myself, we've all experienced that at some time, haven't we?
Yes, we all have, and it could be very dangerous to miss those blind spots.
So how do we go about blind spots in the work that we do then?
So let's just go through. I'm gonna name the most common blind spots, and then what I'm gonna do is take you through a matrix reimprinting style tapping at the end of this, so that people can kind of get more clarity and insight, because we know that's really the key. Awareness is the key. It's the key to unraveling issues for our clients when they have those aha moments, when they suddenly have a realization and they make the connecting the dots. And we facilitate that all day long with our clients, and now it's time to really kind of shed light and see those blind spots for ourselves. So let's go over some of these. So number one blind spot is what I call blinded by the light of your own shining blind spot, which is you are so close to yourself. There are things that you do innately, intuitively, all day long, even outside of your business, that you are so good at and so competent at that you don't see that as an actual benefit or a gift to the world. And so I'm just thinking about a YouTube video that somebody sent me where it was showing all these moms being interviewed about being a mother. And they were so harsh on themselves, and oh yes, I'm a terrible mother, and I lack this, and I don't do that. And then they brought in their kids, and they interviewed their kids, and their kids were all just bright and shining and saying, "Oh, I love my mother. She's the best mom in the world," you know. And so we have this natural tendency to diminish what it is that we're really good at. So one of the things that you can do about that is really get a second opinion or a third opinion from someone whose opinion you value, someone that you trust. In the EFT MBA program, we have our students just ask different people, like, what are my strengths, in a very, in a questionnaire. Because you really need to see that. And sometimes having a very objective third party can also have you shed light on what your particular niche is, what you should be specializing in. Just over the last few weeks, I had a couple of EFT coaches one was just there for a laser coaching, just shed light on what's going on for me in my practice, and the other one was a client. And all I did was just make some observations about their websites, about getting them more in alignment with their particular niche. Telling them someone that they weren't really passionate about what their niche was, and as a result, just that little bit of information and some tapping with the other one, it resulted in one person getting 6 consults the next week, being more in aligned with their niche, and the other one who was kind of resisting the niche because we all have this fear that if we narrowly define who we're working with, we're going to exclude people, everyone from coming and beating down our doors. And just the opposite is true. And so this one practitioner had 5 new clients the next week. So just getting in touch with what is my shining? What am I really good at? And let me just acknowledge that and take that in. I see that sometimes with new coaches as well. In the last few months, Craig and I, in our trainings, we've observed, in particular, 2 people that said, I'm terrible at this. I just don't know what I'm doing. And I'm really nervous about being paired off. I'm really nervous about you observing me. And when we saw their work, we were blown away because they were really not acknowledging just how good they were. And so if you don't have that other, some objective observer, some third party that's just looking at you and telling you what you're good at, you might not see it.
Is this like, though, when you were children, you were told not to show off kind of thing, and maybe
exactly.
That's ingrained, yeah?
Exactly. And so we know that there are tappable events from back then as well.
So how do we kind of shake off that culture then?
Shake off the culture. You work on it. You get objective observers. You get people that you trust. Like I said, people that you value in your life, and you just ask them, like, give me some feedback on how I'm doing here, and that could be a mentor or someone else or a close friend. So let's go on to number 2, because this is one that I hear all the time. So this blind spot I'm calling, it's just the way that I am blind spot. So I hear from EFT coaches, I am just an introvert. I can't possibly do an interview on the EFT Hub. I'm not a techie, so I can't possibly write a blog post and put it on my website. Or I am not a public speaker. I'm not a good public speaker. I'm not a good writer. Or even one of the ones that is more presenting often are things like, I just procrastinate. So we want to get to why this is happening. Know that it is a belief about yourself. It's not the truth. It's a blind spot that you have. And it's something that you can work through. And I'm an introvert. You go to a party and you will see my husband Craig, like the social butterfly, just like jumping all over, having all these conversations with all these different people. You will see me in a corner having a conversation with one person all night. Okay, so I know about this. And I know that when we label ourselves as an introvert, it's really a cop-out for pushing ourselves and seeing what the resistance is. Because underneath that are fears, fear of being rejected, fear of how I'm going to come across, fear of how I look. And all of that we know are tappable issues. Right?
Yeah, I know with the EFT Hub, if we'd given up at the first hurdle, as it were, we'd never be where we are now. So
for sure.
It's having that drive, isn't it, really, to really go beyond and not let anything hold you back.
Right, absolutely. And it is asking yourself, okay, so what am I really resisting here? Because things like procrastination and self-sabotage, those are always indicators that there's some fear there, there's some worry, and really getting clear about them and tapping on them.
And what else is important about that, Alina?
Well, if you don't see that, then you're just going to stop yourself. You're going to stop yourself, like you said, from pushing through and getting to the next level. One of my limiting beliefs, there's just the way that I am paradigms was I'm not techie. And it went directly back to having somebody very close in my family who was very techie. And way back in the day when we used to have those monster computers, that used to take like 14 minutes to download one image kind of thing, back in the early 90s, I would ask this person to help me, like with email. Can you help me like figure out, I don't know what I'm doing? And they would say, oh, God. Okay, I'll try. And so that set up this idea in me that I'm not techie, I can't be techie, I can never. And that was one of the major hurdles that I overcame using EFT right in the beginning. And now I know that I can do a lot, and there are certain things that I hire somebody to do, because you don't have to be a technical genius, you do have to know a few things. You should know the difference between a blog and a regular static website. I mean, little minor things are going to help you just create and attract the kind of business that you want in your in your EFT practice. You really should look at these as, okay, now that I have the insight and the knowledge, I can move forward and tap on them, get rid of it, decide what's there from the past that I need to clear in order to get over it.
And you're saying you can actually use tapping to get beyond this then?
Absolutely. So let's go on to number 3, because number 3 is something that I hold really dear to my heart, which the EFT Hub has a lot of information on, which is the blind spot that I'm calling your money blind spot. So your money blind spot, we have you have a series of tapping videos of me doing the money archetypes, and these are your default programs that you run about money, because if you don't get clarity and freedom and some insight into how you show up in relationship to money, I don't care how much money you're going to be making, it's going to be a problem. If it were all about making a lot of money, I wouldn't have millionaires in my practice, right? And I do. I have plenty of people that have tons of money that are still struggling with the issue around money. So if you are, let's say, one of the archetypes that can't spend, that's intensively frugal and a saver, skims and scraves any penny, then you won't make good decisions about your business and what to invest in, what wise choices you have in terms of where you can be putting money back into your practice and having it grow and flourish and see it as an investment. Likewise, if you are somebody that spends everything they got, then you're going to be wasting money, and you're not going to have anything to show for it. And I know lots of practitioners that are like that, where they're spending money on clothes, or they're spending money on things that they don't need, or the latest gadget, and they don't need all those things. And meanwhile, they don't own a home, or they don't own anything. They don't have any retirement accounts. So it's important to look at your money issues in order to really be successful and have freedom. That's what we're talking about, is having this sense of peace around money, and not just always just being in this kind of hamster wheel of gotta make more, gotta save it all. And because that's not helpful. So getting clear on that and going and accessing those videos on your site is really a great thing to do to get
had some good reports on those videos, so very useful as such.
Yeah.
And what's next on our list here?
Okay, what's next is what I'm calling losing sight of your big vision blind spot. So if you don't have a mission and a purpose, and you aren't filled with passion on a regular basis with what that is, and feeling like you're in alignment with it, and feeling like you're moving towards that. I mean, it's the reason why you got involved as an EFT coach to begin with. You have this sense of, wow, this thing is going to change the world, and my particular piece in it. It could be that you want to bring this into schools and transform the educational system. It could be that you have a vision of how this is going to help people where you work in corporations. You can have a big vision about how this is going to work if let's say that you're a nurse in a hospital setting, and how tremendous this tool would be. If you lose sight of that because you're spinning your wheels in the minutia of day-to-day stuff and working with clients and doing all the marketing that you need to be doing and getting towards your certification, you will really be bogged down, and you will lose sight, and you will be drained of energy. In fact, there's a great coaching statement that I use frequently, which is, the bigger the why, the easier the how. So if you hold on to these big visions and refine them over time, and just keep knowing that it's there and you're moving towards that, it gives you all kinds of energy to really do what you want to do, which was really to change the world, or your little piece in it. And like, I'm just thinking right now that we have a big, giant project that probably won't be done until maybe the middle of next year. But we know that it's going to help EFT coaches bring this tool out to the masses. And so every day I wake up with that feeling like, oh, I'm getting one step closer to getting this out there. And even though there's all this science and there's all this, hiring of these people and those people and experts in this and that, I'm working towards that. And I know that it's going to help so many millions of people potentially. And it energizes me. It fills me with enthusiasm for what I do. And so losing sight of that is a shame. So having a mission statement, writing a mission statement, finding out what it is. Let's say that you got into this because it just helped your bum knee. What is the bigger vision of what you want to be doing with this tool on the planet? And doors will open for you, for sure.
I suppose you've got to have trust and faith that that's going to actually, work out and everything.
Well, yes. And so if things in the past haven't worked out for you, let's say you did have a big vision and it didn't go anywhere. There was learning that was done. There was growth that happened. There was expansion. One thing led you to another. But you can't see that because you're holding on to the pain and the anger and the hurt and the fear that's going to happen again. Then absolutely, then that's something to be tapped on. That's something to be released so that you can see that there is a master plan, that you flowed from one thing to the next to get you to where you are.
And so we're moving into number 6 now, Alina.
Yes, we're moving into number 6. Number 6 is, here's where my weird quantum physics woo-woo side comes out, all right? So when I was learning about quantum physics and how it relates to healing and how it relates to building a business, there was something that one of my mentors told me that made a lot of sense. And that was, how are you energetically connecting to the morphic field of your business environment, of your country's morphic field, of the global morphic field? And so there are some easy things that you can do to kind of unplug from that. But so I'm calling this swimming in the morphic field blind spot. So it's like a fish that's swimming in water. You don't know that the water is around you because that's all you've had all your life. And so if you pay attention to those beliefs that you have globally, I'm talking like the U.S. economy, right? The U.S. economy and the European Union economy. So if you are in the back of your mind, if you have a belief that your business is being limited in any way because you're part of that, then you need to just simply unhook it. And you can tap and imagine unhooking it, which we've done in a radio program. You can tap on your resistance or your fear around unhooking from that. That it's all up to you now, that you're sort of in this orbit, in this bubble. You can tap on just anything that shows up as resistance to kind of letting that go and knowing there's a greater, bigger force out there than just the economy and where you are in that and how your business is struggling or not in that.
I think you're making some really important points there, and maybe if people are trying to keep track here, they can rewind the video, can't they, and make some notes and everything.
Absolutely.
Keep them up with that. Anything else in that particular area?
No, I think that's good, and that leads me directly to number 7, which is perfect. So number 7 is, I'm just a meat suit blind spot, which is thinking that this is all there is, right? Think not trusting in the universe, God, Great Spirit, to be helping you in the unseen. There's so much available to you if you open up yourself to realizing that it's there. And it's almost as if some of the times in the past where especially if we were abused, if we experienced some trauma, if we had the feeling that we were alone, if we had the feeling of God wasn't there for me in this particular moment of my darkest moment, God wasn't there for me, and I called or I prayed or I said, please help me, and nothing happened, then there could be something in you that prevents you from really embracing that and opening yourself up to that and saying, yes, yes, help me. I am ready to feel that power of the unseen. And the visual that I have for this is we live just near Seattle, and we have this big towering mountain, volcanic mountain, Mount Rainier. There are people that come to this city over and over and over again for events or conferences or business meetings that have never seen Mount Rainier because it's always enshrouded in clouds. I mean, you look outside here, it's raining today, it's cloudy today, it's always cloudy. And so people come here and there's this like mystique that the city has. And when the sun breaks out few times during the summer where we can actually see it, it's amazing. It's there. It's like towers over the city, and you feel this amazing, majestic Tahoma, which is what the Native Americans call it. It's just like this beautiful gift. But when it's enshrouded in clouds, it's not like I'm going to take a plane and just go, okay, I don't see it. It's not there. I know it's there. Vibrationally, I can just connect with it. It's there. That energy is there. And just like God, you don't see God, you don't see Great Spirit working in your life at times because of the cloud cover, because of some things that are happening that are stressful in your life. It's always important to reconnect with that. It's always important to bring it home and say, it's there for me even if I don't see it. Right. And like I said, working on those times in the past where you really felt like, oh, God, you weren't there for me. Tapping on that is going to make you feel more in alignment with that.
Right. So you're talking about kind of making a connection there in some way, yeah?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That connection is so important.
Yeah. And I know that you connect with lots of people, don't you? And you share your gifts, and Craig as well that works with you. And if people want to know more about what you're doing and everything else, how would they make contact with you?
Sure. They can check out our EFT MBA program, and they can also check out EFTtappingtraining.com. And we have a lot of content on our site and all accessible.
You've got lots of videos there as well, haven't you?
We do. We've done quite a bit for somebody named Gary Williams.
Well, thanks, Alina, for sharing so much information today. Is there anything practical we can do, though?
Yes, absolutely. We're going to do a matrix reimprinting style visioning using some tapping to get some light, to shed some real light on this. So on what your particular blind spots could be. So I want you to go ahead and start tapping near the fingertips, on the side of the fingers, and on the karate chop point. So if the palm is facing you, this is just the upper side near the tip of the thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, karate chop point. And I want you to just get really comfortable with that. And when you're ready, and you don't have to think about it, you can go ahead and close your eyes. And keep tapping on your finger points and your karate chop point. And I want you to see yourself sometime in the not too distant future having a full-time thriving practice. And whatever that looks like for you, having groups that you're facilitating, trainings that you're offering to a full house. Maybe it is one-on-one clients, and you see yourself in the future opening up your calendar and you see all of these wonderful people that are coming to you for help and assistance in areas of their lives. And you're going to keep tapping on your finger points and your karate chop point, and you're going to see that future self having reached some sort of goal, attained some success, sense of achievement in their practice. Okay, so you're going to step in there as yourself, right? The person that's here tapping with me and Gary, you're going to go and step into that scene wherever that future self is, and you're going to go ahead and freeze everyone else who's around. So if it's in front of a big auditorium, you're going to freeze everyone in the audience. If you see your future self there with a client, freeze the client. And you're going to step in there and you're going to connect with that future self while you keep tapping. And then you're going to ask that future self to take a great big spotlight, like one of those at like Hollywood premieres kind of spotlight, huge, huge spotlight. And your future self is going to take that spotlight and it's going to shed some light in the area that you need to realize is a place that still needs work for you to really succeed. Whether it's a relationship with money, whether it's a belief in yourself, whether it's your lack of belief that there are those in the unseen God, Great Spirit, universe that's there supporting you. You're going to see this great big spotlight. It's going to shed light on something that's going to give you awareness and insight into what your particular blind spot is. And you're going to keep tapping. And you're going to see that. And if you don't see it now, you're going to receive it in the next 24 hours. There's going to be something, a sign that your future self is just sending you through time and space that's going to give you, yes, insight, knowledge, wisdom, information about what your particular blind spot is. It's going to come to you within the next 24 hours. And now I want you to thank your future self for just shedding some light on what your challenge is. And your future self is going to bless you and thank you because you've taken the necessary steps to fix that in order to get to that future. And I want you to just place one hand on top of the other on your chest at your heart center. And you're just going to bring all that love and appreciation in through the top of your head, allowing that love and appreciation to flood all the cells of your body. Bring that positive image of you in the future and the love and appreciation that you feel into your heart center. Have it grow, expand, intensify. And then exhale it through your heart, sending it 360 degrees out in every direction, connecting with that field. Good. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
So thanks for that, Alina, and thanks for sharing your gifts with us today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.